Hey, good morning, people. So we're just going to do our Monday morning analysis. It is a little bit late. Obviously, I was doing some other stuff this morning, so came to the charts a bit late. But once again, I'm not somebody who's too fixated on the timescales. You need to be in a comfortable, awake mindset for when you're trading. So, if my morning's not going too well, and I set, you know, I have to wake up at 5. I'll wake up at 5, but if I don't get to the charts by, let's say, 11, then so be it. I might miss a few trades. That's my own sacrifice. But at the end of the day, I don't want to sacrifice my sort of mindset, because when I come to the shots, I want to be in a clear, collected mindset, and I think retaining that is so important. I mean, over amount of time, you get so excited and you want to be by the charts, so you don't have that. But some days, you might have had a terrible sleep, or you might not be feeling too well, so you don't want to be jumping on the charts 5 a.m. to be, just jumping on setups, even though you've planned for it. It's not always the best thing, because data does change, especially whilst you're sleeping, and also when markets open, because we do get things like gaps and obviously volatility unexpectedly when the market does open. So this is what we're going to do. So we're going to jump into the Monday breakdown. So this is my morning breakdown, and essentially what I do during the morning. So we'll start with the DXY. DXY is actually looking pretty nice, to be honest. I mean, this is what I've been expecting as well. I mean, obviously nothing has majorly changed, because we are still in this little sort of corrective price at the moment. However, this could be the start to price pushing up further. Only reason I believe that is because we had a point 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, this is 3 touches, not major significance, but obviously what it is looking at for me is we are seeing that price has come in here, and this could be the start to the move up. Now, if we do get the start to the move up, and then this is just a sideways correction towards the upside, we could see either a pattern within this to meet with this level of override, or we could bypass it and go with the higher time frame and just keep moving up forward. So it is definitely can be looked at two ways. We are trading with the trend, yes, but it could be a counter trend play, because if we're looking at this point, for us to maybe perhaps, let's just say we look at something like this, which wouldn't be uncommon in my opinion, and we come in over here, and then we push up here, and then this forms as the middle section, you know for this section here, and we come here and reject, then that could be a good gameplay. But at the moment, I'm not gonna just obviously look for a trade here right now. I'll wait to see the cards developed. I mean, DXY isn't a pair that I take trades on, but it is one that I monitor in order to take better trades on pairs that are related. So that's it for the DXY. Next one I've got is on my watch list. So it's Euro AUD, Euro Australian dollar. So I was looking at the line in the sand yesterday, and we didn't actually break the line in the sand. So yeah, for sure there was potentially a buy entry here, but I wasn't looking for the buy, so I wasn't entitled to take that. I did see this as corrective price, so I wasn't too convinced with the sell, and I think I did mention that on Friday. But one thing that I am quite interested in now is what is the bigger time frame telling us. So even though we have this sort of 1, 2, 3 leading structure, price hasn't really committed yet. So we could do something over here before we come down, or if we continue upwards. It's not a trade that I'll be meddling with right now, but it is a trade that I'll be looking at and just kind of getting my, let's say, getting myself prepared for, because if this trade does go, I do definitely want to be involved, and there could be much better entries, because here there wasn't really much entries for me to capitalize in this area. However, if we do have some level of, like, let's say a rejection here, we create a nice little flag there, and then we start selling off, there could be an abundance of really good structure there, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for structure. So I'll pull it in over here and just say, let's say price comes here. I'm not going to be looking for any entries over here, but perhaps maybe on some corrections on the way down. So that's something that I'll be looking at. But at the moment, it is looking like it is forming a higher time frame sort of flag at the moment. And if I just evolve that ever so slightly, there could be something within this that I'm not seeing the picture of. So definitely need to go over this a few times and just kind of, see if I'm missing anything, because, we do have some sort of revolving structures and whatnot, but at the moment, just want to keep it simple. Want to look for something that's definitely going to pop out and be like, hey, look, listen, the markets have changed, change with it. So EA definitely gonna stay a bit patient with this one, but we'll definitely see if we break this line in the sand or if we go above this sort of inflection point here. So we'll see where we go. The next one I've got on watch is AUDCAD. So Aussie CAD is looking nice. To be honest, look, we had the override high, we had the rejection. This was more than enough. We knew it was more than enough. I was just forecasting the point of sale, which was over here, because this could have been a potential place where we move towards. But you know, keeping it very simple, and you know, we don't need this anymore. We can remove all of this forecast. You know, what did we have? We had a 1, 2, 3 leading structure to the override. We came to override high, and now we're coming low. Keeping it that simple. That's all we really need to focus on. We did have this corrective squeeze at the top, which, you know, we can probably say that there was maybe a pattern within a pattern here or whatever. But to be honest, that wouldn't have really been something that I would have been awake for. This was early morning Asian session. Perhaps maybe, and I have experienced this. A lot of Aussie pairs do go during Asian session anyway. So, you know, but my line in the sand would have been around about here. So, you know, I think more so when price kind of came back up here, could have been an entry in here somewhere for myself, but I don't think I would just take an entry blindly. I think I would have looked for something more so in this section over here. I think that's where I would have probably taken a trade. But, you know, at the moment, there's an abundance of opportunity. We're just on our little rundown. Let's just see how price performs. I mean, I think if we can get some sort of structure in the middle over here, might take a day to develop. I'll definitely look for some sort of entry to the downside. At the moment, you know, I was potentially thinking this could go long in the back of my mind, but, you know, like I said, this can still correct. We are creating a correction below that low. So, you know, let's just see what happens. And yeah, that's it for Aussie CAD. Next one I've got is USD Swiss. USD Swiss is fairly simple as well. I mean, what I do like is, you know, we had that rejection on the weekly, we had the rejection on the daily candlesticks, and then, you know, we're kind of sitting in this price here. As forecasted, this is the potential hover. Now, this bit of break of price is not really something I'd be entertained in. Would I be entertained in taking a sell if price came back down here? Probably. Now, am I too concerned about the angle of this? Not so much. You know, prices coming up over here. We could probably refine on the 15-minute, see that, okay, we have this sort of impulse correction, you know, but I don't want to be catching a trade here, because if we don't create the hover and we go up further, it's not something. I mean, the hover is what I'm forecasting. This is what I'm looking for, and this is the sort of trade we are pretty much sitting on the trade right now. But I'm not going to be just jumping into a trade, you know, just to be tagged out. It's not the sort of trade. If I was going to take it, I would probably be a bit extra mindful and take a 40 pip stop loss. So somewhere in this region over here, just to be extra safe, and then take the trade here. And yeah, okay, I compromise my reward. However, in terms of, you know, sort of security protection, I feel quite well protected for that, and I'll be more than happy to take, you know, 6, 7, 8% on this trade. You know, 5%, 5.5. Even if it came down to coming down to 2.3, that's still a profit. But nothing's guaranteed. Definitely the reduced risk would be nice. But if I was to take the trade, it would be pretty much right now. I'll be evaluating it right now. Just wait for this candle to close. Well, it has closed. This is the new candle, 30-minute. And then essentially I'll be waiting for the next candle. And if the candle just probably rejects down here, I'll probably take the trade in here. And that'll be me. So it's quite nice to see trades like this whilst we're doing the forecast. But yeah, essentially USD Swiss definitely looks like one that could be nice. But looking at the DXY as well, you know, and the volatility that we have at the moment, I wouldn't be surprised if this does continue. So yeah, I'm just going to be extra on the ball with this one. But as said, the true play was down here with a larger stop loss of around about, you know, looking at around about 60. And then, you know, to the low, it's still around about 4%. So like I said, I'm not too concerned, because over a course of, you know, 2, 3, 4 weeks, you know, we could be all the way down here, you know, and that's something that I definitely want to be in. So you know, I'm not trying to jump into a trade just to capitalize on a small position, thinking that, oh sorry, on this position thinking it's a small position, because you have to remember there's going to be scale, there's going to be a lot of more opportunity inside here that, you know, for let's say 9% here plus another 8%, plus 6%, you know, this might be a 60 pip stop loss. However, my next trade may be only 15. So that's something that I always take into consideration. But yeah, that's basically it for USD Swiss. The next one I've got is EURGBP. So EURGBP is pretty good. So we did actually have a gap. So you know, as we mentioned, sometimes on a Monday opens up and we get this crazy gap in the market. These gaps usually tend to get filled, but at the moment, you know, the forecast was to hover and then the push down. Obviously now we just got to scrap that. That's out of the forecast. So does this change things? Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely does change things. I was looking for a larger flag here, and a larger flag could play out. But I think what we might potentially see now is sort of angled, sort of something like this, that will sort of correct and fill that. So I'm essentially looking at something to come in a bit like this and come in there, and then come in there to just to fill that gap in, and then I'll sell off. So I'll definitely be looking for, you know, sort of a 1, 2, 3 sort of structure. It could be 2 touches, you know, doesn't matter. It could just come up here, reject, and then sell off. But this would be more so of the gameplay I'm looking for. I think it would be a little bit more tight, and I think we'll see a bit more volatility on it. However, I'll be looking at something like this, see it fill in the gap and then sell off. I think if we're going to fill this in, we'll either come back really quickly, or we're going to create this structure and then just continue in our natural form of momentum. But a flag down here is exactly what I was looking for. So this is actually really good, to be honest, because this gives us a little bit more confirmation that we're going to be playing out to the trade that we were looking for. And in terms of risk reward, if we do capture a nice little trade in there, you know, we might be able to even take in around about a 20 pip stop loss, let's say 23. You know, that's about 5% there alone, to the low around about 7, and could even go further. So once again, great trade, great opportunity. It's definitely one I'll definitely be keeping my eye on. So I'll be marking them up like this, and if it's something that I'll be looking at, I'll put it on red. And I think, you know, I think going through the pairs as well and establishing the ones that you want to be trading on the day, that's something that's super beneficial. So that's something I'll be looking at, but I don't think it's going to shape up today. I think it will be looking at some point Asian session tomorrow, to be honest, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay, next one I'm going to be looking at is GBP Aussie. So GBP Aussie, we had the line in the sand and we broke through this and we started creating a flag, but we didn't actually continue creating it, which is quite funny, to be honest, because we gapped, but we pushed up. So we pushed up pretty impulsively. Now, will we come back to fill this gap? Well, we don't always have to, but I think that this could be a little clue towards what might be happening next. And I think, to be honest, with how price is, I think we'll be going up, but we'll come back down at some point, and we're going to probably meet with one of these lows down here before we eventually go up. So I think keeping that in mind, that's something that I'll be wary of, because I have seen it time and time again previously that, you know, we form these small gaps, but we may not come back anytime soon, but eventually we'll come in and fill that gap over here somewhere. So for now, I think I'm looking at this quite simply. I'm looking at this to come back to the high. If we can come back to this level here, we'll just see how price reacts to it. And then if we do start rejecting, and then we create this sort of, you know, let's say that this is the one. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like that, but you know, let's just wait and see. I think at the moment this is looking fairly bullish. There isn't any sign of sort of a middle section correction right now, so definitely something might form here before we go up higher, but we might just start selling off, which I wouldn't also be surprised about. But obviously bullish on the GBP pairs as usual, so keeping that in mind. But I'm looking at these sort of inflection points and see how we sort of react to them, because this is a small clue for me to see that if price comes back down, we might just continue with our forecast. But at the moment, the gameplay has changed, and we have to just change with it. So, you know, this is a clear middle section to either an evolved structure right now, more so like this, and then are we looking at something in the region like this? That's what I have to ask myself and think. If we are going to be coming in at some sort of steeper angle, is it likely we're going to come up here? It's possible, but we would have to create some really big middle section here, which will meet with that high, and then probably come up here, or probably come to this override and reject before we actually go up further. So, you know, there's a few variations of things that I'll be looking at, but at the moment, this definitely does look like a middle section to something more complex, and this could be expanding within this sort of structure here, which probably takes us further. So GA, nothing to really be looking at right now for myself, but I'll definitely be monitoring that override section. Probably not so frequent because we are hours away, but we can impulse there. So I'd probably just, want to set an alert or something, which I don't really usually do. I don't usually use alerts so much. I'm more, just kind of on the charts when I need to, but probably setting an alert would be the best thing. So yeah, that's GA. Cool. And the last one I'm going to go through is GBP New Zealand dollar. So GBP New Zealand dollar, we were looking for sort of push down, push back up. Not needed. We did kind of come down to that override section over here, but we didn't sort of break it. If we do kind of put this a little bit more accurately, what we'll see is that we had a near miss. Is it necessary? Not so much, because if you look at it on the higher time frame, it's definitely an obvious near miss. But before we come there, we can go. We also have that the low before the major low, which is here, which was filled. So we can go off from that point as well because they are so close. Ideally, the better play would have been the break below this and the push up, but I'm not too concerned with that, to be fair. If we can get some decent flags over here, I may be inclined to look for an entry, because I was looking at this trend to be broken. So at the moment, this is something that I think could shape up and be quite nice, but I think it'll be more for play, needs another day to develop. So maybe a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday play. But at the moment, looking at this nice impulsive move, it's looking nice. It's looking quite good. And I do like the fact that, we've come down to this section, we've bottomed out, and we have this sort of section over here that kind of meets here. So I think there's enough room for this to just potentially go up further, and I think GBP New Zealand will be a great play, especially talking about GA just now. Fully bullish on the GA, the Great British Pound at the moment, because I think there's a lot of potential for GBP at the moment, and we should definitely be looking to capitalize on those particular pairs because of where we are in structure. And if we do move, we're going to move pretty good. So that's something I'm bearing in mind. So yeah, that's basically it for my watch list. And yeah, I'm not going to go through the wild cards because all these I was pretty much forecasting them for later this week, but if they do shape up, I'll definitely add them into my next video. So I was actually about to end the video, but then I just realized, it wouldn't be a great video if I don't end it with a nice trade. So basically, essentially, I'm just going to finish it with EURCAD and Euro dollar. So EURCAD and Euro dollar. So EURCAD, essentially it's just playing into this 1, 2, 3 section over here, which essentially is quite simple as well. We've got this middle section here. We're pushed up impulsively. We come in for either two places. We can either come in for this override, or we can come in for the 1, 2, 3. Considering they're so close together, I don't really care. But the 1, 2, 3 would be nice, a little push, and then just sell back in. Obviously, we are moving pretty impulsively on the last leg, so using rule of 3, which definitely would be of great use at this point. Even though there is structure, I'll definitely be looking for a small push down, maybe even an AFT trade in there, which is a small flag, or essentially I could just be, just going in with the run. So, there'll be an abundance of opportunity if we do start this run, but yeah, definitely there's a 1, 2, 3 there. And yeah, essentially I just think that would be a good play. Next one is Euro US dollar. So what I was actually looking at was this 1, 2, 3. Obviously we did get this sort of section over here. We are creating some sort of pattern over here, but I was looking for structure, or at least price to, slowly move towards there, creating a lot of volume, but haven't really got that. I wasn't really looking for this override, so a flag over here isn't something that I was really looking at. I wouldn't be surprised though. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if 1, 2, this became the third touch. Even though we didn't quite exactly get there in the way we were looking for, it doesn't have to. I think, push down now. We're creating some sort of flag over here. If we kind of just refine it just a little bit further so we can see it for what it actually is, and we just remove these sort of lines over here, what we can actually see is that we are creating sort of continuation in this section here. So, and this does look like a little bit like a head and shoulders, but it's not really the sort of head and shoulders I'll be looking for at this point. It looks great. I mean, this is just essentially just a messier version of a good trade. But is it a trade I'll be looking for? No, I wouldn't be, to be honest. Hence the reason it's in a wild card. I'll wait for picture to shape up a little bit more. Could definitely create something a little bit more in depth here. Strong push up. Then we push down again, and then we come in over here, and then behold, we create a sort of structural ending. So that could also be a gameplay. There's a few things that could shape up here. So Euro USD probably not ready as well, but I thought I'd just add that one in as a last pair. And yeah, that's basically it. Cool, thanks.